Stay tuned to this tutorial and we are going to learn how to make this cute little Christmas truck mug rug for the 12 days of Christmas. Simple gifts that you can make in no time at all for those special someones that you're still not sure what to do last minute. So stay tuned and we will talk about how to do this. And maybe have some friends along the way. Hello! Alright, stay tuned. Okay, as I mentioned, we're going to learn how to make this cute little mug rug that I wanted to come up with some cute ideas for last minute gifts. And since it's the 12 days of Christmas starting today, I thought this would be a great one to start with. So it is a little mug rug. You see I have this candle here. Let me see if I can zoom this out a little bit. It's a cute little candle I got. And it fits really nicely on this mug rug. And then this is what it looks like when it's finished. It's cute. It's simple. It won't take very long, and if you're not sure what to get someone, you still just want to make them something from the heart, this will be a cute little thing. You could also use it as a mug rug for a coffee mug. It could be an ornament. It'd be a little big, but you could still use it as an ornament, or you could tie it onto a large gift as a favor, Christmas gift favor. Possibilities are really endless. So let's talk about the supplies you're going to need. All right, you are going to need two different size crochet hooks. I have an H and a G. Now these are sparkly ones, so it might be hard to see. Let me see if I can get this to focus. And I probably have it backwards. No, I do not. Let's see. There we go. This is an H hook, and we got our G hook here. So you'll need both of those. Refocus there. Come on, camera. There we go. So we need two hooks. You need scissors. You're going to need red, green, and black yarn. And you're also going to need some stitch markers and a yarn needle. I use a stitch marker when I'm making the wheels just to keep my place because it is working with black fabric. And just a quick DIY tip, I have this little travel quilt Q-tip holder here. Makes great, holds my all my little stitch markers and things very nicely, and it just pops right open, and then I put it in my little bag. So that is what you're going to need to do the project. So let's get started. All right, you are going to need to start with the red yarn for this project, and we're going to start with the 3 pieces here for the truck. This is done in 3 pieces that I have sewn together, and this is the messy side, as you can see, and there's 2 seams there. We're going to make, this is done using the C2C method of crochet. It makes it whip up quite quickly. I really love this stitch. Anytime I can use it, I will incorporate it any way I can. The tree is also done in that stitch, but and the difference is you're not going to finish this edge so that it will give that tree effect. But we make 3 pieces. We have 1 square that's 3 by 3. We have 1 rectangle that is 6 by 3, and we have another rectangle that is 4 by 6. And then it just matters how you line them up, how they make the truck. So we're going to take our yarn and we're going to make a slip knot. I do have some basic crochet tutorials on my channel if you'd like to check them out. I won't go into a lot of detail about the C2C because I do have another video about that, but I will go through some of the steps just as you're following along. But if you'd like to see the other video, you can check out the little tag right here, and it'll show you more detail on how to do this. But as always, we start off with a slip knot, and then we are going to chain 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then we are going to make a double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 2 more double crochets in the remaining chains. So there's 1. And 1 more makes 2. And what you're essentially doing here is creating basically a square. And that's how the C2C kind of works. You make squares and line them up, and then they form the blocks that you see. Or if you continue to go and go and go, it'll make a blanket. All right, so that is block number 1. And so what you're going to do now is turn your work and chain 6 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Same process again. We're going to make a double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook. Put him in there. And 2 more double crochets in the remaining chains, like that. And with that, let's get that one in there. And now you have 2 squares. So in order to make this line up so that it will do like it's supposed to, you're going to now slip stitch. So you're going to find these bars here. So there should be 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you see that, there's 4. You're going to come to this last one over here, the furthest to the left, on the one that sits kitty corner from this block, and you're going to slip stitch in between these 2 bars. So stick your hook in between, slip stitch, and now you've essentially joined your squares so they sit on top of each other. And that's really what C2C really is. You're just joining the squares and sitting on top of each other as you go. To form the next square, because you're going to always, C2C works from corner to corner. That's what C2C stands for. And you will work, if you're making a blanket, you go from corner to corner, or you can make, and it's a scarf or whatever you're working with, you're going to work in a diagonal. So you always will have one, and it will look like a jagged edge, kind of like on the tree here. So to make that next square to sit on top of this block, to give you that triangle effect, you are going to now chain 3. You only chain 6 for the first one in the row. And now you're going to double crochet in between those 2 bars again 3 more times. So that's 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so now what you've essentially done is made your 3 squares. It gives you that triangled effect, which is what you're looking for. If you did it correctly, this is what it will look like. So it gives you, this is a triangle right now that's 2 by 2. You're missing a square there, but you see what I'm saying. So what you're going to do for this first square, or for this first, the square that we're making for the first part of the 3 parts of the truck, you're going to make a square that is 3 by 3. So you're going to go ahead and continue in this method until you have 3 blocks down and 3 across. And I'll see you back here in a second. So now you can see when you get to this point that if you were to fill these in here, you would have a square that measures 1, 2, 3 by 1, 2, 3. So the way to fill these in is quite simple, and I'm going to show you here. And this is how you would finish off your blankets if you were making one, if you're making a scarf. What you're going to do is you're going to turn, just like normal, you'll turn your work, but instead of chaining 6 to continue to build, you're going to slip stitch across to start here, and that way it won't continue to get bigger. So you want to slip stitch into that first stitch there, and then the next one, and one more time. All right, and then you're going to go ahead and slip stitch like normal in between the 2 bars there of those stitches. So now now it looks like this. You're ready to start here. So in order to do that, you have to fill in with some more blocks. So you will go ahead and chain your 3 like normal. Whoops. 1, 2, 3. and then do your normal double crochets into the bar area of that previous block. And then go ahead and slip stitch to secure it down. Okay, so see, you're starting to fill in the square. And now we're going to do our 3 again. One more. And, oops, I'm going to pull some yarn out here. Okay, so now you're going to go ahead and slip stitch in there. So now this is what it should look like. You got one more square left to do, and then you'll have your 3 by 3. So go ahead and turn just like you did before. Again, we're not going to be building, we're just going to be sealing off the square. So we're going to slip stitch across. Slip stitch into between the bars. And now we're going to make one more square. So go ahead and chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and make your last double crochets. That's 1, 2, and 3. And slip stitch into that bar space, and now it looks like this. So to finish this off, you are going to slip stitch one more time across, and then don't forget to go in between that bar like normal. And you have your first square for the truck. It's 3 down and 3 across. And to show you where that would be, it's going to be on the front of the truck here. So you have your first piece down. Now you're going to do this to make the other 2 pieces the exact same way I just showed you, except instead of when you get to, you're going to make a square that starts off like this. And you're going to have one go 3 high, and then you're going to go 6 across. But remember, when you're 3 high, you're going to not continue to go higher. You're going to continue to decrease on the one side and continue to make it bigger on the other. So you're going to do the exact same process for the other 2 squares, and I'll meet you back here in a second. Okay, so for the sake of the tutorial, I'm not going to go into all of the pieces because it's the same process as the square, but instead of just having 3 by 3, you would continue to extend and leave this at 3 and extend up until you wanted to stop, and then so on for this square. Now, the pattern link to this will be in the description of the video. I will be having this pattern up for sale in my Etsy shop if you would like to purchase a hard copy, if it's easier for you to follow along. But either way, so this is the square that we did for the first part. Now, and if you wanted to continue, and for, like I said, for the sake of the tutorial, I'm just going to do a small version to show you, but I'm going to show you really quick how to continue to extend, but also not extend this, because, you know, for this next piece you were making, you would do the 6 by 3. So in order to do that, you want this to continue to go, but you don't want the bottom to continue to go. So what you're going to do is, if you're continue like normal, and this would be the same process to do this if you were making a scarf too. I know I watched and I learned from the Crochet Crowd, Mikey, how to do this stitch, and it worked out beautifully. And this is, you know, the same way. And so this is how you do this. So what you're going to do is continue like normal. So we're going to make our squares just like if we were, like we said, we're going to keep extending this to keep it going. So we're going to get to our 6 and do our double crochets, and then we're going to fill in our blocks just like we always do. And these are new hooks that I bought for myself. They're pretty, but sometimes they're a little bit hard to work with. They don't slide well, I guess I should say. All right, so there's our first block. And then we're going to slip stitch it into between the bars. And to start to fill in, so you can see that this is extending our squares. And make our next block like normal. Do your chain 3 and make your block. I'm also getting used to a new camera setup. I have a new ring light / phone holder. It's a whole setup thing, and the angle I have to do this at is a little different, so it's taking me a minute to get used to it. All right, so we're going to fill this in here. And we're going to make one more block because we do want to fill in that last little hole. And so make your last block here. And I'll show you what I mean in a second. You'll see why this is the last one. Pull some yarn out. Oops. Pulled some yarn out and forgot where I was. All right, start back over here. All right, so then so what you're gonna do now is we're gonna connect this like we would normally. And then normally if you were gonna just continue to keep widening this, however wide you would need it, if this, for like your next piece, when you need this to be, 4 by 6, you would go one more row up. But because we only need this to be 3 by 6, what we're going to do is stop right here, and then just like I showed you how to close it and end it on the square, you're going to turn and slip stitch across. And then that is going to stop this from going any further than three rows across when you have it like this. And then every time, so then you'll continue to work your way up, extending this however more you need. And then every time you come to this side, you'll continue this seal off method. And then when you get to however high you want it, you then will seal it off like we did this one. So once this gets let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So once we get 2 more squares up here going high, you will then seal it off like you did this one, and then that will make your piece be 3 by 6. And you'll do that the same way for this one as well, only this time it'll be 4 by 6. This one is 3 by 6, and this one is a 3. And I'll be back in a second. Okay, so now we're going to grab I'm going to show you how to make the tires. Now, on the finished piece again, I did them in the black, but we all know as crafters that the black yarn is hard to see when you're crocheting, and so just as hard as it is to see in person, it is hard to demonstrate with. So I am going to use green for the purpose of the tutorial, but you will use black, or I guess any color you want. It doesn't have to be those colors. You could change it up. And then you're going to change to your G hook, the smaller hook, and we're going to make our slip knot. All right, so we're going to make the tires, and you'll make 2 of these. And so what we're going to do is you're going to chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then we're going to single crochet into that last chain, forming a ring, just like you do for any other ring form that you do if you're not using the magic ring. I am not particularly good at the magic ring, so I don't use it a lot, but whichever way you would like to form your ring, but this is how I'm going to show you in the tutorial, and you can tweak it however you would like. That is perfectly okay. And so now that we have our ring, we are going to single crochet. Oh, let me forget, before I forget, you're going to need a stitch marker. Like I said, it helps me remember where my stitch is. If you don't need a stitch marker, that is okay too. But for me, I need one for my placement. So Again, we're going to single crochet into the center of the ring. There is the first one, and so now I'm going to place a stitch marker right here so I remember that that's my first one. And we're going to do 4 more of those. Whoops, this yarn sometimes splits on me too. I think I forgot to mention that this yarn that I'm using is just a worsted weight yarn by any brand will, of worsted weight yarn will do. Oh, sorry, the camera's shaking. My cat just jumped on the table. Yeah, any worsted weight yarn will do. I suppose you could use it with a different yarn, but the difference would be that you would just have to pay attention to your gauge and adjust your needle size accordingly. So if you're going to do this in a smaller thread, or even to make them really tiny, or a different yarn thickness like a 3, like I said, you would just have to adjust your hook sizes to be what it would need to be. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We need 1 more. All right, that is 5. And now I'm going to slip stitch into the first single crochet, which is sometimes the toughest one because it's that first one out of the ring, and take my stitch marker out. So now we have our first round, and we are going to do 3 more rounds to make this attire. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to single crochet again into that first one. Get my needle in there, or my hook out of there, and then go ahead and place a stitch marker. And what we would need to do is increase this so that it makes our tire. So now that we've done 1 single crochet, we're going to put 2 single crochets into the next stitch, and we're going to repeat this all the way around to form that 3rd round. So there's our 2 in the first stitch, and this can be a little tricky. Depends on, I'm a little bit of a tight crocheter, so sometimes my hook likes to fight me. But I will get it out of there, and I will prevail. It is a piece of plastic after all. All right, so we've got that one there. All right, so you can see how this is starting to form. And we're going to do that 1 more time here. 1 single crochet. Whoops. Pull out some yarn. And then 2 into this stitch. All right, so now it's starting to get a little wider. We're going to slip stitch into that first one with the stitch marker. And come on, you little bugger. All right, haha, I win. All right. Slip stitch and take your stitch marker out. All right, so now it's starting to get bigger. So what's going to happen now is you're going to we're going to single crochet into the next stitch. Again, we're trying to increase this so that we have a round circle. Put our stitch marker back in. And now we are going to do 2 more rounds. So then this next one, so we did the 1, now we're going to single crochet into the next. So that's second one. And then we're going to put 2 single crochets into this one. And you're going to repeat that all the way around. And you're also going, when you get to the first one and you slip stitch, you're going to do that 1 more time, and then that is going to be your tire. So I will go there and I'll see you in a second. All right, once you get your last row on your tire done, your tire will look like this. And then of course you would snip your ends and you will have your pieces. So then the last piece you would need to do is the tree, and it's the same C2C. If I hold it this way you can see it is the same C2C method, except we're only going to make it 4 by 4, and instead of finishing off like we were with the others, you're literally just going to leave that raw edge so that it's kind of picoed a little bit, kind of looks like a picot. And then you will take your pieces and lay them out just like I have them here, and then you will stitch them in the back. And all I did was just kind of piece them one piece at a time, and then just used my yarn needle and whip stitch them together, making sure every time I was done that I opened it up to make sure that I didn't have them in the wrong order. And then there you go. So this is what it will look like when you're done. Now you could, if you wanted to personalize this, you could, you know, stitch out 2020. If you wanted it to be a year thing where you give one out every year, or you make one every year. But like I said, the possibilities are endless. You can use this as a candle mug. You could use this as a mug rug. You could use this, I was talking to my mom earlier, and you could, wrap it around a candle, like a pillar candle if you wanted. All kinds of things. It could be just a decoration, ornament, or like I said, you could tie it to a gift bag. But that is it. That is the Christmas tree truck, or Christmas truck with the tree in it. And if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, and thank you to all my subscribers who have been hanging around, and thank you to all the new subscribers. I hope you will continue this journey with me. And like I said, this is the series for 2020 of the 12 days of Christmas. This is day number 1. And I will have one a day from now until Christmas for those last minute gift ideas, quick little gifts that you could whip up really quick last minute. And like I said, I hope you enjoyed. And if you did, please give me a thumbs up and maybe consider subscribing or sharing with your friends and family. I have Instagram. You can find all my information in my either in the description box or also on my bio page here on YouTube. I also recently just started a TikTok for my business, so you can check out sneak peeks of things that'll be coming up there. And as always, so what is in your craft room today? Bye. Bye.